said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch, you filthy... Flyover State of Fear. Welcome back to Flyover State of... Wait a minute. We are missing a guy, but that's okay because this is Fear, and TJ is joining Brian and I for this very special episode. How are you, TJ? It's been a hot minute since recording. We've talked every day, but
been a while. It feels great to be back and talk to you guys and see you guys. I wish our fourth was here. Yusuf, we love you and miss you, but I'm glad to see you guys and be able to just talk some things, talk some movies, and especially the movie we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we're just right up front. We're talking about Troll, but before that, and hi, Brian and TJ.
I'm co-host now. I'm like Andy Richter.
Yeah.
I sit to the side. I wait to be addressed.
My beautiful co-host. He's going to have a bunch of failed
With him,
pilots.
as always, is Garth.
He's going to have a bunch of failed sitcoms, but one was really good. But anyway, has anyone watched, before we get into Troll, has anyone watched anything or in the genre horror space recently that they'd like to recommend?
Well,
Yes.
I don't know if I could recommend anything.
Or just talk
But
about
I'm always watching horror movies. I can recommend anybody who hasn't seen this. It's a classic. I watched Magic with Anthony Hopkins.
It's on Shudder right now.
Yeah,
too.
it's on Shudder, so check it out. Blu-ray is a little expensive, so
I have the
check it
Blu-ray
out on Shudder.
myself.
And then I did a 2-night back-to-back. I watched Shopping Mall and Killer Workout. So I was really hitting my best of the worst bad movie.
So you hit my lane too of what I've been doing. I watched on Shudder, I think. Yeah, I watched the Joe Bob version of it just because why not? But it was Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge. Same mall used as Chopping Mall.
Sarah was talking about that because she was like, Joe watched something that could fit in with the movies we were watching.
It fit right because it was 11 o'clock at night, and I was like, I don't know, I want something, but it's bad slasher that I've never seen.
I have to say the craziest thing about either movie is the fact that the name of the movie is Chopping Mall, but it's not about a killer who chops people. It's about robots.
It's
bananas. They shoot
Phantom,
people with lasers and stuff.
Phantom of the... Oh, I've seen it. They're dialects, basically, from
they are.
Doctor
They're
Who.
cheap-ass dialects.
Phantom Mall was a killer going around, but it was also just an excuse seemingly to show boobs and get a very 80s. And Pauly Shore is in his first role as a yogurt worker and still the comedic relief, but not full blown Shore.
Do I need to have seen the first Phantom of the Mall?
There's a first Phantom of the Mall?
Oh, I didn't know. Is Eric's Revenge?
No,
That sounds like a sequel title.
No, I think it's just the straight full name.
Okay. Wow.
But if you're going to watch Shopping Mall, good double feature, enjoyable. My other one rediscovery, Mimic. Forgot how great of a movie that is.
Also almost watched Mimic. Man, we're right on the same page. And you know what? We ended up watching The Relic instead.
Okay, yeah, so it's same vibe,
right in the same, I bet those came out within a year of each other for
Mimic was a workday watch, and I was like, all right, I kind of know what this is, but I don't.
I have not seen Mimic since the theater.
And I was like, there's 3 of these? Because they have 2 straight-to-video sequels. And
I knew that, yeah.
I read about them, and the sequels are not good, apparently.
I've never seen either one. First one, though, the original is a GDT movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's Guillermo del
Yeah,
Toro's,
you could tell, too.
It's his first big American movie,
it's
right?
Very, and I mean this in a good way. Yeah, it's an American movie, but it's an Aliens knockoff.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, and it's Aliens mixed
so
with
many good movies are.
It's Aliens mixed with a pandemic movie, a virus movie. Anyway, TJ, have you had anything going on that you've watched recently that's in this wheelhouse?
the level of chopping mall or anything like that, but I did do a good 8-hour binge.
I know. Yeah, but I think True Detective is a straight up. That first season is a straight up like horror thriller.
Yeah.
I mean, I would put it on par with something like Silence of the Lambs. Like he would. It's that level of
that.
horror.
Agony.
I think last year, 2 years ago, Brian and I think we had a group chat going where we watched it in 1 week, just simultaneously together. But TJ, that was one of those shows where it was so fun to watch week to week because no one knew what no one knew it was going to end the way it ended, to keep it vague. So it was all like, who's the Yellow King? What does this mean? Like it had the full blown, like, when it used to be fun to do conspiracy theories on the internet.
Right.
Like that's what True Detective season 1 did.
And the way they did it with luckily, it's one of those things that Brian was tweeting about this, where everyone's like, you have to see it. And back then I was like, I don't give a shit. If everyone's watching it, it's like that, I'll eventually see it.
The hype builds, and like the less you care about it, the more like entrenched you become. You're like, no.
But somehow I never
won't.
got spoiled to it. I never really looked into it after just knowing that it was a big hit when it came out and seasons. So when I watched it, they all knew me and everything. That's why I got so locked into it for 8 straight episodes. Like, well, if I haven't, I'm just gonna watch them all the way through.
I've done that before, but then you're like, shit, 6 a.m.
Yeah, dude, and then it hurt the next day. I was like,
oh, never wise.
You finished it at like 10 a.m. in the morning, and you're like, all right, what do I do now?
Not that it's horror, but I almost did that last night, at least later, with the Vice Principals, which I've seen, but it was just playing on next.
Yeah.
So I just started rewatching, and I'm like, it's so fucking dark.
I'm just locked in. Here we go.
All right. But about today, we're talking about Troll. 1986's Troll, because I know there's quite a few different Trolls.
One just came out.
Yeah, so this is the OG Harry Potter Troll. Before I read the synopsis and everything else, TJ, what made you pick this? We know you very well, but this is very in your lane of what you enjoy. And
one thing I'm really learning is that like all you got to do to get TJ on board with your movie was get a dwarf to put on a costume.
Yeah.
And like TJ was like, this is it for me. This is my whole all of them. He's just like, I'm geared up for this.
Hey, he got paid double.
We're going to talk about Phil Fundicaro because my man is acting the hell out of this.
I don't know if he got paid double, but he did 2 roles as Troll and just the guy.
A fucking English professor
and
who lives in the building also.
I knew it was one of the costume. I never knew when I was younger.
And my biggest note of that, I'm skipping all the way through it, is this could have been a really like sweet, meaningful film about like a little person like coming to like figuring themselves out and finding fantasy in this, and it just throws that away when it happens because he has that speech that is like the best acting in the movie.
Yeah,
it is. Like he crushes, and like I like that. Like that moment's genuine. I would imagine. Yeah. I imagine like he's bringing some real shit to that moment, and it's so out of place in this movie, and it's really great.
Yeah,
and then like 5 minutes later, he is a tiny elf puppet.
he looks like a small version of the Soup Nazi as the puppet in that. Like,
so we can't start at the bed.
Yeah, I've started like way too. But
we teased
TJ
the Phil Fundicaro elf.
Didn't get TJ to. What was the thought? I picking this. I know I vetoed Critters. It was only because I've recently seen it.
Couldn't bring himself to do it, man.
I don't know. I was thinking about what to do, and we've always talked about on our other podcasts, like Child's Play and all the other ones, Tremors and stuff like that. And I was something that just, it's still me, but also I know the guys, if you haven't seen it, might either be
this is worth a watch if you're listening.
Or just a good conversation in the end. But this is, again, I was thinking about today, I was like, where did I see this as a kid? And I think it was just like on USA on like a Sunday morning out of nowhere. And like, I just was like, oh, it's Atreyu from Neverending Story. I'm in, I'll just watch it. And eventually when the troll does show itself, scared me. Everyone's doing that Twitter thing right now. Like, what scared you as a childhood? And I was like,
it's creepy troll.
control, and his all his little ghoulies. Look,
He looks a lot like Hoggle from Labyrinth.
Okay.
Like his face is a lot like Hoggle.
Yeah, this is very Labyrinth and like Legend, and he also looks like the Chiode brother troll from the Ernest movies, just like smaller.
Yeah, kind of like a smaller
rubbery
version
kinda.
of that. Sure.
So before we begin, as always, I'm going to read the synopsis, and I mean, from what I could see, this does look like we're going to get a good description, but we never know. In order to get his life back as a wizard, Torok, the troll, plans to take over an apartment building. His first step is to possess young Wendy Potter. Her brother, Harry Potter, is the only one who suspects something is wrong. Fortunately, their neighbor, Eunice St. Clair, is a witch and not only believes Harry, but also agrees to help him. Meanwhile, as Torok, Wendy starts transforming other building tenants into mythical creatures, and only Harry can stop them. Now, that's a really good description for that. And I actually think so. In Spain, this movie is just called Torok, like El Troll, because I almost bought the Blu-ray from there. That's what it should have been called, Torok the Troll.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a couple fun facts up front. The obvious one: the hero of this film is a boy named Harry Potter Jr., who is surrounded by a fantasy world of witches, wizards, and magic. 11 years before J.K. Rowling published the novels. Blah blah blah. According to J.K. Rowling herself and her spokesman, of course, denied any sort of fucking influence, and which is such bullshit.
Yeah.
Juliette Lewis's debut.
Not Juliette Lewis.
Julia Louis. Sorry, I've been watching too much Yellow Jackets. Julia Louis-Dreyfus's debut. According to what we could tell, she's pretty embarrassed by it, which is kind of silly. Because like Leno brought it up and played clips for her back in the day, and she was visibly not like thrilled. Apparently,
she didn't like it. She loved that.
You guys
yeah, and that's kind of. And then another movie that there's two this movies that has connections to. The director of this is a special effects dude who I did recommend. Thank you. Who also directed Friday the 13th: The New Blood.
Hell yeah.
Which is a good one. And then there's a picture.
Very poorly rated on Metacritic, though.
There's a picture of Galwin in human form in the basement and of the antique store.
And he's got a ghoulie on his shoulder for some reason.
And that is also in the Garbage Pail Kids movie. Which is another movie that
Phil Fondacaro is also in Garbage Pail Kids. He is Greaser Greg.
Is he? Okay. I only ever knew him from Mary Kate and Ashley Halloween movie, Toil, Double Trouble.
No. He was Willow's buddy in Willow. That was what I always knew him, man. He was like, he's the one who like was the actual warrior who goes along with Willow at the beginning to like help him out.
So we do start off like, I think the movie itself too, the credits are like so much, speaking of Willow, are so much more whimsically like Willow, and like we're going to be invited in this nice fantasy family friendly movie. And we meet this family and they're moving into an apartment, and it's in San Francisco.
I was wondering where it was.
Yeah, I had to Google that but it's San Francisco apartment. And you're like, oh my God, hey, Sonny Bono. Playing pretty funny.
The guy from U2 that was married to Cher.
Bono,
He's both. He's Sonny Bono. He's both of them.
The world famous Olympic skier. It's funny, they talk about getting rat burgers, which I've only ever heard White Castle refer to rat burgers, which is such an East Coast thing. So that's why I was like, where the fuck?
The dad's like, you know what, guys? Y'all take care of the boxes. I'm going to just go get us some burgers.
Yo.
I'll go get us some
The dad was like
Atreyu, you look like you got a good strong back. Let's get going.
The dad was like, I make money and I just want to listen to my rock records and have a fucking gin and tonic and leave me alone.
Can we just talk about, we're going to just jump into the dance scene, right? Like when the dad like needs to blow off some steam, that feels like one of those things that like he did on set as a joke and people thought was so funny that they were like, we're going to put it in the movie. You should do that in the movie. And then they did it. And then that's how you end up with a scene like that where you're just like, what?
The only way it works is because it's so loud, and they set it up in the beginning when the mom's like, all the boxes are your records. but because the dude, one of the characters you meet in the very beginning, the Marine, when he shoots the gun off, it's the only like thing where I'm like, okay, I guess that would make sense because then they couldn't even hear the kid knocking.
Yeah. Yeah, they need the sound, but like they didn't need the dancing.
No.
I don't know. It's weird because there is I know this, famously Troll 2 has nothing to do with this Troll, because Troll 2 is about goblins and it's just low budget and the studio slapped
They're
it.
just trying to hack, use the
But
name.
there's a weird there's no similarities, but there's weird, I would say, adjacent similarities. So the weird random dance scene is there, right? Troll 2 famously
Troll 2 has that, okay.
random fucking dance scene that she literally does the Magneto and it's very in the mirror, and it also has when the girl's eating and it has the green goo come out of it when she's eating a gavone, or the troll is eating the green goo is a big part of the Troll 2, but that
that's it.
And then turning people into trolls.
You want to talk about connections? Here's one that I just made just now. So on Seinfeld, Elaine famously dances very badly. She does the thumbs and the little kicks. The episode is called Little Kicks. What? I wonder if she took that from Dude here in Troll. She stole it from him. And then she's doing an impression of Dad from Troll.
She has her part where she's doing that whimsical dance throughout.
Yeah, she's more frolicking kind of.
She's honestly hired correctly. She's literally there just to be cute and look pretty.
She's the
she's a cute 80s girl, and then she becomes a wood nymph, and she's just prancing around and whatever. And
top shot, all nymph, and then there's multiple nymphs behind her, but it's everything
she becomes 2 or 3 different people at one time. She's there's a bunch of them.
But that's what this movie I think does do well in the apartment setting is go watch Evil Dead Rises, but same kind of introduces our people when we're moving in very nicely. So we start off with
the moving scene and all the people.
We start off with
do
Sonny
their little
Bono.
Intro. Perfect.
We start with Sonny Bono. He's an old playboy, a conservative Marine, clearly a boyfriend girlfriend, Julia Dreyfus, and
and her real life husband.
Is that why I recognized him?
Yeah, well, they were on SNL together too.
Okay, I was like, this guy looks really fucking familiar.
Brad, crap, I'm gonna have to look it up on IMDb because I already lost it.
And then I literally wrote Julia, because then I saw the IMDb, but I didn't.
Brad Hall.
I was and a guy I've seen on Curb Your Enthusiasm, because that was one of his, which is probably as her husband.
Her husband, yeah, exactly.
Now that you say it,
he is her real life husband.
I don't know if we verbally said it, but the troll immediately possesses the daughter.
Wendy.
And we don't see what happens to her. This is off screen. We see the troll approach her, and then she disappears off screen.
He has a Green Lantern ring, basically.
Yeah, he has a green with a little heroin needle that shoots out of it.
They do a really bad job of setting up, which is, I guess, I was hoping you would set up more so you care about the relationship between the brother and sister. But the first time they even talk to each other, they're watch this. She's Mom, she's so annoying.
Yeah.
The sister's just I'm gonna fucking mess with you anyway.
And then she immediately becomes a troll. So every other interaction,
and then she's
a troll.
I guess that's the setup. She's always annoying to him. So when he starts complaining about she's being annoying, it's just
nobody takes him seriously. Boy, Cry style.
All right, Atreyu.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I would never have picked him out as Atreyu. He could have gone this whole movie. I was looking on IMDb, a couple years, a little growth spurt, little middle part that makes your head. How did we not know that middle parts made everybody's head look like a penis? How did nobody notice?
So long.
That's all I can see anymore. It just looks like a little mushroom tip. Get the little
nice circumcision
coming out the top. Yeah, a little
hood. Nice mushroom hot.
So weird.
Yeah, it's podcast over. All right. But
sorry.
No,
bring the room down with talk to.
Nah, you're good.
Kids in the '90s looked like penises.
My first kind of note, though, kind of is that I found it interesting how, like, I get it, it's just a movie, like, she's pretending to be Godzilla, or the troll is, I'm Godzilla. But the troll then doesn't know about fridges. Like, it's such a varying, like, but which again, not a true nitpick. They go in to eat the rat burgers. Like I said, she eats like every fucking Jersey uncle I've ever known. Just like, yeah.
Yeah, the little girl doing the troll acting is fun. Anytime she has to like
fun.
act like the troll is coming out in her is fun.
She did a good job. That's the thing. Like, generally, except for Harry Potter, aka Atreyu.
Yeah, she was a way better
did a
actor than
fine
Atreyu.
job.
I couldn't believe how bad Atreyu was. He was really coasting.
I shared it in my group in our group chat, but I straight up, the only line I wrote down because it was bad was, he's all flustered, stops, goes, then can I come in? I think I'm gonna throw up. And it was like, and then it was like, oh,
He just watched that Captain America movie where he keeps stealing the car by telling people he has to get out and get sick.
Look. When you peak with the Artex scene, it's very hard to come back. You know,
He did emote. He did emote pretty hard in that one.
right.
But go back a little bit. So we get the troll established. We've seen it go through, but it's not her. It's only making things hard for the family household. It's not doing anything. But then
nobody questions where this little girl got this giant ring.
She just says, "Oh, that's so pretty," and she says, "I found it." She has a conversation with her mother.
Okay, I must have missed that. I was going to say,
yeah, the mom's like, "Where'd you get that, honey?"
Where the hell that big gaudy ass thing come from?
It's like the first clip we have, like right after Troll's turn, and her sitting at that table before they eat the burgers.
That mom,
or like around it.
She must be on some happy pills. Is the whole movie she just like this the entire time?
Oh, the mom and the dad are the coolest, and I don't mean like cool, like want to be them, just like nonchalant parents ever. Like, oh,
yeah, they're not too worried about anything that's going on around them.
But we go back to Sonny Bono. This is the first like room we get into, and to be honest with you, it peaks here for me, like with the effects.
Well, this is the thing they do. This is a classic. When you got a budgetary issue, you like throw it all into one scene that looks pretty good as you can get it, and then you just kind of expect everybody to be like, okay, that happened again off screen. Like when you do it again, you're like, this time we get the big transformation. I wasn't sure because I had never seen this, so I didn't know what we were gonna get coming out of that.
No, I think that's why it more toes the line on this rewatch of like, we could call it like, okay, it isn't that horror because this is full blown body horror right here. More than just family fantasy movie, right? We're not watching.
This is right in line with something like The Gate. It's probably not quite as scary as The Gate, but
TJ's first episode, The Gate.
When I was starting to rewatch of it, because like when I was a kid, you're obviously a little bit more scared of things like that, especially a troll taking over a kid. You're like, oh, it could be me. But then like I started watching this, I was like, oh man, is this not hard enough for the podcast? The guys was like, oh, but there are elements of it. There's like this really cool aspect, and like,
I mean, we're very like, openly talk about it. Like, it's starter horror. It is. That's where I consider this. I think, like I said, if you were to go and pick something like Never Ending Story because the scene with the wolf scared you, then it'd be like, let's pick something else, right? That's not starter horror. That's just this, especially knowing the effects and trolls are creepy. Like, it works. I won't get too hung up on it. But yeah, so we get this Sonny Bono, and like, he does have some good, this is where it's like that weird 80s thing was like, who is this for? Because we do have like his full blown horny, but she's not into it. And
she kind of like blows him off and makes fun of him. She's clearly a prostitute. She didn't like bag a real lady. He paid.
And then he's like,
lady,
you hungry? She's like, yeah, I eat.
Sorry,
and he's like,
sex worker.
He's like, cook for me.
He's like, I get some pancake mix in the kitchen. Why don't you go cook us up?
She's like, fuck off. And then they come back, and that's when the troll reveals itself. Like, the girl comes in, right, and it's all blah, blah, blah. Reveals the fucking troll, hits it with a ring, and then you see what I can only describe as an 80s version of effects as, like, the wolf kind of man from Prometheus exploding from the fucking, the spacesuit.
Yeah.
Bursting out, bubbles, like, and it's
I was
gruesome.
wondering. I was like, do you think they got Sonny Bono to put on actual prosthetics on, like, on his
So,
face?
Maybe. I mean,
Probably. I don't know. That'd be tough. They might have been like, "It's gonna be fun, man. Be
'cause
great for your career."
it's also a low
Yeah.
budget fucking movie. I mean, it's
It
all
is,
fun.
but it's got a little bit of money in it. Like, it's
Mhm.
not. It's, you know what I mean. They
So-
definitely had a couple bucks.
so that explodes, but he turns into this like vagina-y looking metapod that like then this is the first room that bursts the
When I thought it was,
forest.
I was like interested. I was like, ooh, okay, what's gonna come out of this pod? Is it gonna be like a weird Sonny Bono?
It
Is
should
it
have
gonna
been.
be well? At
Little
first I
one.
was like, oh, it's just gonna be like foliage kind of take over the room. I like the stop motion effects on all that. That was fun. But I was like, ah. But then the little creatures come out. It's like Sonny Bono broke up into a couple little weird creatures, and some of them have like goblin bodies, but like goblin like upper bodies, but insect butts and weird like legs and stuff.
Yeah, they
It's
went
cool.
full blown. They took the effects and full blown from these guys worked on Ghoulies, but like
That's
that.
big,
Like
just like Ghoulies.
they
I was gonna
probably
say, to be
repurposed.
fair, some of these things look like they took one of those. What were they? Boglins, where you guys remember Boglins?
Nah, man.
Where it was in a box. It was like a little rubber hand puppet that came in a box that looked like a cage, and you like stuck your hand in it. And to be fair, some of these looked like somebody took a Boglin and sprayed it with some like gravy and
They
gave it a
probably
little
did.
goo.
They
But
probably did. But that's like our first introduction, and you're like, oh shit, this troll means business.
Business.
Go on.
I was gonna say, like, the first part of it, like, okay, I get the little kid bursting its way in. A lot of people letting kids in their apartment. Also, to
yeah,
hang.
this little girl gets into way more apartments than like me and Sarah definitely clocked that. It's like I ain't so letting some little kid just wander around him.
That would
Julia
be-
Louis-Dreyfus is like, well, okay, stranger, just hang out in here. I'm gonna go finish getting ready, little
That would
child. I
be-
don't know, like
That would be straight up part of a drinking game of this. Like every time she enters an apartment.
yeah,
And they're just like, all right, sure.
pushes her way in, just walks in.
And we do get a good shot though, while this is all happening, of the troll looking at some Playboy.
Yeah,
Killing
Oh
time.
yeah, obviously.
trying to think. It was because the face on the end, the page before it. I was like, I know who that is from something in the '80s, but I can't put my finger on it.
There was no note on it. I'm sure you could find that somewhere. But then we go back to I think Atreyu kind of sees like what's going on, if I remember correctly, like a little suspicious. But now we
He's
go to
starting to pick up on her weird
Yeah.
behavior, but again, nobody's listening.
now
to
we
him.
go to
And we haven't got to the part where he's like, first of all, they share a room, I guess, even though there's like I don't know, like, I don't want to say that teenage boys are creeps and you shouldn't put them in rooms with young girls, but
his sister.
yeah, fucked up shit happens all the time, though.
All
I'm
right,
just saying,
all right.
like,
So I'm gonna move past that one a little bit, Brian.
you don't want to delve into that? No?
Nah. We'll get Gary Glitter on.
I
another
did like
show.
the way when he looked over and she was normal, and then he looked back and then he looked over again and it was a troll. I thought that was very funny.
No,
like,
it was good.
I think the whole reason they share a room is so they could do that gag, and I didn't mean to bring down the pop.
And it's an apartment building, so they probably only have like 2 bedrooms, a living room, and like a kitchen, and maybe like a little den.
The dad's dance studio, obviously.
Yeah.
And but now we go to Eunice, who honestly should have just led the whole movie. And as the elder Eunice, not as elder witch Eunice, not
That's
young
June.
Eunice.
That's June Lockhart, baby. Whew. It's the mom from Lost in Space.
Locked my heart.
Looking good. She's killing it in this. And also, I love how breezy the whole like her being a witch thing is. It's like they kind of, I guess they kind of let Harry Potter Jr. be a little smart, and like, because the audience, it's so obvious that she's a witch. It feels like they knew the audience would be like, yeah, she's a witch, we get it. And then he literally does just go to her apartment and be like, you're a witch, aren't you?
Yeah, that's all.
What of it? No, it's like, okay, well. And then also he's like, these are the things kids would have. And I was like, if I was a kid, maybe like one of the spears, but I would not have all of those things that she had.
I definitely wouldn't have
but I thought-
the weird talking mushroom that used to be
Well,
my
that was-
husband, maybe?
I think that's just her pal, because they had a connection, and like But I like you establishing, all right, she's up on it. She's part of the like. She's one of them. She's at least a witch. You know it immediately.
Well, I think because they knew they were going to have to also tell the whole like backstory
Lore.
of her
Just-
and and how she connected to the troll and what the troll's doing. They didn't want to waste time with also explaining like having
Guys,
is she not a witch? They're just like, let's knock that out right away.
This movie
she's
is
a witch. Boom.
This movie's a cool 80 minutes.
Yeah,
roughly,
you've already
about-
seen a troll exists. She's a witch. There. Now we've covered all our bases.
In the meantime, the troll fucking swallows up the military dude. I feel like that was pretty nonchalant. Like nothing actually happens with the military, like other than he just gets his shit wrecked.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, we haven't talked about what the troll's plan is because we haven't got to that part.
No, we
But I
still
was trying
gotta.
to remember. I guess we did talk about, but I guess part of her plan is that every room that he kills somebody in every room, and that, or I don't know,
Making it part of the world.
undetermined if those people die or not. We don't know.
I don't see any of them.
We definitely don't see him at the end.
Well, she says to him, like,
But like he's also supposed to, every room is supposed to replicate a different land, and that was my one note, that like they all seem kind of samey.
They're all forests.
They're all forest. They
Just
have
different
some
creatures.
of them have different creatures, and some of them are more expansive maybe than others. But I was like, I can't tell which one was which. Like, was there anything different about this one? Is this just more goblins, right? And
Well, there's
then-
more goblins, and then like
she
yeah.
was the something about death, because he's like, oh, I've stared death in the face, and she's like, what's it look like? He's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
I don't know. And she's
He's
like,
confused. It's such a sinister question that he's like, because he's clearly supposed to be some like hardo guy who may have been in Vietnam.
right, he could be a bit of a blowhard. He may or may not actually be a badass, right?
That's kind of how I got it. Like being.
I
Like,
love that he was a 1986 fit, where like they were trying to play up like he was all buff, but like he was just like a normal gym dude for now, like nowadays. Like,
Oh,
I guess they established that like mortal weapons, because he shoots them and it goes through and hits the thing behind him. These trolls like, oh, all right.
he yeah, and he's like, yeah, I like that. I like the point of that. Like just a week, like just yeah, and but he goes and then he turns into whatever. But we do in this also meantime we meet Malcolm, our main dwarf, but Wendy meets Malcolm, and the troll is enticed by it, like almost like
because the troll thinks he's a fairy.
Yes, it's very insulting. But I have one question, even though we already talked about this, we could keep talking about it. Malcolm should have been like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to come to dinner, right?
Yeah, it is weird that he accepted the dinner invitation
and then
of
brought
a
a bottle
child.
of wine.
And also, it feels like something he's done before, because like,
well, I'm sure it happens to him enough. But like, if you ask, I don't know, today from like the few little people that I've listened to on podcasts and whatnot, they're like, yeah, no, I know how to talk to a kid in the sense of like to diffuse this kind of how Malcolm talks to her, but to be like, I'm not a child like you, I'm an adult.
I'm just a small adult.
And I thought it was like, it makes for great scenes, but that she's like, yeah, my friend's coming over, which is an innocent thing for the parents. Like, okay.
When he shows up with the bottle of wine and she's standing there with the chocolate milk in the clown cup, that is so funny. That is like one of the funniest things I've seen in a movie in a minute.
I love how the dad too isn't like, you want to open that wine? He's like, as a gin man myself, you want a G&T, right? And he's like, yeah, I guess. And Malcolm's like, you know what? Fuck it. I live in this apartment. I guess so. And then he goes
lit.
But then he goes and instead of hanging with the parents and listening to records, goes and has a nice one-on-one in Wendy's room together.
Again, there's a lot of things going on. Who is and isn't allowed in Wendy's room that I don't know what we're going to get into here.
It's in the eyes of the movie. It is innocent. Yeah. You know, like we know Malcolm means well. Once again, he had a fucking.
I gotta call their parenting into question here.
He had an adventure with the Olsen twins.
He did have an adventure with the Olsen twins.
Wait a minute, that sounds terrible. I don't like that. I don't like the way that's worded at all.
That's what they went on. The Olsen twins went on adventures. I don't know what else.
Adventure, an adventure of discovery, an exploratory adventure, you might say.
God, what is his name from that fucking Halloween movie? But anyway. Do you remember TJ?
No.
My cat won't shut up. Can you guys hear my cat?
I can.
My cat won't shut up. Can you guys hear my cat?
I can.
No, but
Trouble.
I have no idea what it is, but like even just the intro and then the girl hugging him and then putting sitting there with the arm around him, it's like, oh man, this is so many things like you want to say but just don't say. But
It's
it's very questionable. And then the whole story at the dinner table, which is again, we talked about this, the best acting in the
it's
entire.
nice. It's
Yeah.
generally a nice scene.
I'm talking about the Phil Fontecaro scene. Best acting in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name was Oscar. I thought it was something more whimsical.
He, I think he, like I said, I think he brought a little bit of real reality to it, and I don't know if that's a real way he felt as a kid, or at least a way he, as an adult, felt it, he could express how he felt as a kid. Either way, if it's real or if it's just maybe it's just something he helped write from a place of reality, just seems like.
But then,
not something I could. The guy who wrote the rest of the dialogue that's in this movie didn't write that scene. You know what I mean?
so, another part of it. Yeah, no, he probably punched up the fucking script or something and said, "Hey, let's do it this way." And especially, like, I could imagine the director being a special effects guy was probably like, "Give me all the actor help you could give me, and not just some like you're gonna."
This was only his John Carl Biegler. This was only like his second directing job, I think.
Unlike Troll 2, which was an Italian director interpreting, or that had a script in English, but it was full blown Italian. The crew was Italian, and they instructed why it's so weird of a movie. They instructed every single actor to be like, you read the lines on the script, you don't go off script. Because there was a guy who thought he was also an auteur.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're probably right there. But in the meantime, before that at dinner, he reads a poem that is reminiscent to what an ancient poem that's what's, kind of going on. But the other part of that is there's a full blown fucking random musical number with the puppets in it.
Yeah.
I love that.
And singing, and it fucking rules.
Yeah. Anytime you add a little musical number, and then she has the horn. She stops it with her magical horn. Awesome.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's so much in this movie that's just very charming.
It's charming.
It's like it's a lot of fun. They never really go back to it, but when the music's going and everything's getting going, they're singing, the puppets are singing, and all the little there's two dragons' heads on her wall that like wake up.
Oh, I didn't notice
like
that.
Hand puppets that are like they're like two sconces up like on both sides of her doorway, and they clearly have like like two dragon head puppets, but they're like wake up and they look around, and then later you just see them kind of sleeping. I was like, oh shit, that's cool.
I did
not
just
notice
little fun detail stuff,
like, little girl.
When you have a special effects guy direct your movie, he's always gonna put find places to hide little neat things.
Like when the kid Harry Potter Jr. is watching like the monster movie in the living room TV, she like walks by as the troll little girl and is like, "You call that a dragon?" Just like a nonchalant thing, and just walks in the bedroom. And I was like, "Oh man, I would like to see that because you don't get a dragon in this."
Yeah.
It just moves too.
Yeah,
like a movie from the '80s should. Just cooks.
So
edition of the pod people thing.
Yeah, that's kind of it's a mimic, right?
Yeah. He's just like, your dog, that's not your dog anymore. It's a pod person from the planet.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's because then that's what gives him at first thinks she's some kind of alien, and then he talks to the Eunice, and she gives him the whole backstory about her. I did think it was weird that like he used to be a human who turned into a troll.
Yeah.
That was
so
strange. He used to be a human during the troll. Eunice also used to be a princess who, by her own fruition, because she fell in love, decided to get into witchcraft to more appeal to a warlock. Like the lore isn't as sound as it should be.
No, I do. Like I said, I do really like the idea of every room in the apartment's a little world. I just wish they were a little different. One could have looked like a crystal cave. One could have looked like
world.
a desert. One could have looked like the snow. Yeah, one could have looked, and then that would have. I would have liked that a little bit.
That was probably the original idea.
Gotta spend more money on creatures.
Well, it's one of those things like,
that's-
we can dress every room with the same woodland shit.
Well,
you
that's
know?
where I think this is where it happens too. So like all that happens, she turns Malcolm into or this happens maybe after, before this, but turns Malcolm into fucking horrifying soup Nazi puppet.
I mean, like I said, in fairness, the face of the puppet does look like Phil Fundacaro. It's just so fucking weird. It's like got a little
it's
like body. It's so funny.
Thing, and he doesn't ever get resolved with it too. Like he doesn't look.
Like I said, we don't see whatever happens to any of the people.
Because Phil Rosario or Malcolm, with one more scene should be like, oh my god, this like the troll did him a favor, or he's disgusted.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He has the conversation, the good acting conversation with the troll. He talks about how, like, when he was a kid and he found out he was going to be small, he thought, he was like, "Oh, it'd be cool if I was an elf," and so like the troll does think it's a good thing, but it would have been awesome to either pay that off and have Phil Fundacaro be happy, or be like, "Oh my god, I'm a monster! What did you do to me?" Like,
it's missing the one scene. I mean, maybe all these go back to the world they're supposed to be from, and that's where they live now. Because the next scene up is, and we kind of already talked about it, is our Julia Louis-Dreyfus scene, where the troll's just horned up, watching her turn into a nymph.
Yeah.
And that's really it. But I think that's where the budget is.
Quite glistening a couple.
Yeah,
times.
that's where the budget, I think, really, and she's a lot more floozy. Is the budget starts dripping? We're like, okay, we're gonna just dress this as the woods, and you're no creature now. You're just a pretty lady in like a loincloth.
We just cover you, and you're just a pretty lady with some leaves on you, and you just prance about.
And that's what I remember of this movie. I had watched this after Troll 2, because I was like, when I was like 15, 16, I discovered Troll 2, and I was like, oh shit. And I remember watching Troll 1, and all I kind of remember of it was floral, or not floral, but like woodsy, in an apartment, Juliette Lewis.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say specifically this scene because it's what came up when you searched Julia Louis-Dreyfus naked on the internet when you were a teen.
Probably. But everyone listening, I apologize. I keep saying Juliette Lewis. I mean Julia Lewis.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, So I heard it. I just called it out. But yeah.
Terrible.
So the nymphs happen. We do learn a little bit from it that, it's the witch's Sabbath, and that's why all this shit started happening. Once again,
it's like he's only got 72 hours from the time he takes over the little girl's body to, like, establish his little worlds, and then he eventually, sacrifice her, or she gets saved, or I can't know how it works.
Well, the witch, Eunice, everyone makes a big point to be like, oh, she's not dead. Her body's being hosted in the other world. And then when Atreyu does get there, eventually, I mean, because he has this staff that Eunice can use. Because Eunice at one point, we're kind of borrowing to it. She's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go fight." Takes this staff that I guess is the destroyer of it, fights off as much as he could before the troll just turns her into a stump. And she turns into a younger woman.
We didn't talk about she turns herself into a woman who is arguably 12 years younger.
Yeah.
Not even that much younger.
I think she was 80s old, where if you were 50, you thought you were 75.
In the 80s was a whole different thing. I wonder 42 in the thing or something.
Yeah. She's probably
cartoon timeline.
He's gorgeous.
So, but we do that, and then that's where this is one of those movies where Harry Potter, Atreyu, or whatever you want to call him, is kind of like Jack Burton in the sense of he does nothing and everyone else around him does everything.
Yeah, he's just there to kind of be like, "Oh,"
but it's not the joke like it is in Big Trouble. This movie's this is your protagonist, but he doesn't even save the day. He just finds her. The troll saves the day.
Yeah,
not the girl.
And my question with the saving at the end with that is, did he just have to use that staff to kill one thing in the did you just have to use the staff to kill one thing in the netherworld to save it?
Something like that. She tells him she has to use the staff to kill the biggest. It's the biggest creature.
Oh, okay. So that
it has to be the biggest thing.
It would have made sense, like Leprechaun. You defeat the leprechaun that's causing the chaos, not any. This is not the time to get mad.
They said they keep a blonde. What did they say? A white-haired something?
Yeah, a blonde to become like the troll queen or whatever.
So that was her mission, the Wendy's eventual mission, basically, probably. But anyway, that happens. The parents are now figured this shit out, but they're just like, whoa, and they stay back, and the building is shaking when they go into the other world, and there's a creature engulfing it, and the outside seeing it, and now the cops are getting called. And the wing, but we go in, and Atreyu now has to fight this wing demon, but they both get knocked out, and the wing demon's coming for the fucking kid. And then that's when we said, like, the troll, like TJ, not the girl, spears the thing, blows up, dies, and they're kind of all
for some reason, even though he didn't really spend any time with the girl, he just spent time in the little girl's, like, disguised as the little girl.
Yeah.
For some reason, he decides that that's his breaking point. He won't let this little blonde girl get killed, even though it fucks up his whole plan that he's been doing this whole time.
Yeah, he was close. No one,
no one was going to stop him. Atreyu failed.
Especially Eunice is like, fuck off.
Yeah,
we do know Eunice, so I think everyone does live because we see Eunice at the end, and she's not a stump anymore.
Yeah, but not everyone's a powerful witch like Eunice was.
Yeah.
Eunice might have been able to save herself. Some of those people got turned into goo, and then the goo turned into little goblins. Like
his friends.
That's it, man. They're gone.
Yeah,
so I think it would have been funny if the goblins rented the apartment. You have like the three little the little guy with the spider legs, and like he's living with the Phil Fundacaro elf, and they're just
got a leaky faucet.
They're still alive, but in this form now.
What about they're like the worms in Men in Black?
Yeah, they just like hang out in that building and drink coffee.
One becomes a super of the building. But then apologies if I missed anything.
I was gonna say, Turok kind of looks like the super in a building I used to live in.
My review of this movie on Letterboxd, I've been trying to write like kind of something funny. It was like not about Danny DeVito, but we do get a night. So the family just fucking is like it feels so hastily, like, right, TJ, compared to like The Gate, which we talked about, which its wrap up really is like there was a big climax, it ends, and it's just like the morning of, and we kind of know like, oh fuck, but their story's
I'm sitting
over.
outside the smoldering house waiting for mom and dad to come home.
Their story's over. Or like The Burbs, like this what it reminds me of. This was straight up. They have like 3 suitcases each, and they're like, all right, time to leave. And the cop gives some direction about like a hotel, but they're just driving back to their old house.
It's like a poor man's version of the Poltergeist ending, where like they go to the motel. You have the scene where they walk in the room. Then the funny part where the dad pulls the TV and leaves it outside the house, the apartment, or the motel room. This is just like, well, our daughter was a troll for the 72-hour thing. It feels like it's more days than that whole 72-hour thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I was like,
it said 72 hours. I was like, that seemed like it's already been 3 days.
It's been enough days.
The parents also, it makes sense because they were so out of the film, like mentally during it, that at the end they're probably like, well, I guess we can just go to another apartment building somewhere in San Francisco.
Yeah.
No idea what the dad did.
Because like
anything.
Speaking of Men in Black, there was no Men in Black technology with this one where it just, wiped everyone's memory to be like, what happened?
Yeah.
And that's why we either needed a scene with the tenants dead or they're back to their normal selves and things are just slightly askew.
Just wake up and they're like, oh no.
But it's not over because we get a stinger of a cop going down into the basement where it all started, and we never went back down to the basement, I realized. And you see the troll hand just come back out and go for the cop. And that's kind of it.
Dun dun dun.
And they were.
And then people thought there was going to be a sequel. So when a movie called Troll 2 came out, they were like, "Yes, I'll see that."
Absolutely. And
Well,
then
and they were wrong.
going to make a sequel to this, like a real sequel. The director, I think, passed away a couple years ago. So the two
He
things
was trying to get it going because of the Harry Potter thing. He was
Yeah.
like, he had a rights thing that he could still use the name Harry Potter as long as he did a sequel to this movie.
Yeah,
He was trying to cash that check.
Well, what's so silly because from what I could read about it, he tried to drum up a lawsuit in like 2007 when already like the Harry Potter movies were almost done with, and they were like, "Why didn't you do this in '96 when the books came out?" And he was like, "I was aware of it, but I had a lot of I had a family issue at the time, so you couldn't be bothered." So he waited. Obviously, didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then in like 2017, because I think the kid who plays or the man now who plays Atreyu, who's retired from acting, also was like, "Yeah, I want to come back to do
He retired from acting right before he started shooting this movie.
What if the sequel would have been great if he becomes the cop and just gives up on becoming a troll world. He's just been abusing being a cop, most having the authority for so long, or he becomes a hardened detective troll cop, and just
it becomes like a version of They Live,
yeah.
but with trolls. But there is room, like the fact we have fucking 4 Ghoulies movies, right? And 3 or 4 Critters movies and Puppet Master movie, of this
movies.
Troll, because yes, Troll 2 is Troll 2, but there's a very reasoning it could have been better, because this movie, the only way to get it for a long time, I still think in America on Blu-ray and DVD, is in a double pack that's
with Troll 2.
With Troll 2, and it's the artwork of Troll 1.
Yeah.
Troll 2, because of its cult success, is widely. I have it on Blu-ray. It has the documentary. It's widely. But Troll 1, there is Blu-rays out, but they're super expensive because it wouldn't run. Or you could buy a cheaper one, because I looked it up. That's the Spanish version, which I almost pulled the trigger, because I like this movie enough. I kind of want to fucking own it. I think I did have that Troll 1-2 double feature pack at one point.
Did you guys watch it on Tubi?
I watched this on Tubi.
Of course. God bless you, Tubi.
Tubi's the bad. TJ, you were just tweeting about Tubi.
I'll tell you. Here's the thing that Tubi is good about, and I didn't realize until I was watching other free streaming services that don't do this. They're good about curating their ads at the end of scenes.
Yeah.
They actually line up their ads to come in at the end of a scene, so it feels like a commercial kind of. I've watched some of those free services suck. They will just drop out in the middle of a fucking sentence and just start a fucking they do not give a shit.
You have a pledge ad in the middle of someone crying and being murdered, big climax. Yeah. It's let it pledge. But anyway, anything we missed on this one, guys? Troll Watch. Anything you want to add, TJ, to your pick and that we can bring up, or something that stood out to you?
When I first got into picking this, I was like, I wonder if it's a Stan Winston type of a thing, that company. But I didn't really look into it because this falls in line with the no name norms. And
it's not a Stan Winston. It's this dude, and it's
John Carl Buechler. This is his pet project.
Yeah, it's the Ghoulies adjacent. It's our B team, and
he took his Ghoulies check and made his own movie, basically.
But no, having watched this instead of this, because at first this is when we ever do a podcast, it's always, is there enough to pull out of it, especially from sometimes children's I think children's fantasy with Jason horror, and there was this was really a nice. I enjoy this movie. I kind of want to watch this again, and in a different setting. I think this would be a really fun group activity movie.
Yeah, and I mean, if the troll stuff isn't horrific enough, you can always focus on the negligent parents who let strange men go into their daughter's room, their child's bedroom.
And
you're the size of a child, so just go on in there. I guess
it's fine. We trust you. Said you're a professor. You
said you're an English professor, and you brought wine and recited weird poetry to us. So sure, go take my daughter to the back room. Bye.
Because even though he came over and he knew the parents were going to be there, it's still a weird move. It's still it's a nice gift for a parent, but only if you're friends with the parents, to be like, hey, I'm coming over, I'm having dinner. Oh, your kids are joining us. I get along with your kid.
Yeah.
It's not even elementary school teacher. He was an English professor.
Yes, that's why he knew that poem off the top of his head. But I regress. Yeah, so I say everyone, watch this. I would tell you if it was bad. What are you up to, TJ? We can find you. I know you've been working concepting some stuff.
Yeah, I got things cooking right now. But for the time being, you can find me on Twitter. Really doing some things, saying some
Yeah, we got more positive TJ back on Twitter though. It's a pleasant burger
I was
experience.
being TJ at TJ today.
I know, I saw.
I kept answering all his tweets. I was like, "Oh, you want to be on Twitter, do you?"
You tweet honestly these days. I tweet fucking anything. Here's Brian to contradict me in the comments and be like, "Buddy, we're co-hosts. Shut the fuck up."
Actually, you're wrong here.
Anyway,
the have conflict, you know.
Anyway, you can find Brian at Hercules doing the Twitter thing. You can find me at Chendango1. You can follow this account at Flyover State of Fear. And you've already listened to it all. Stay frightful, everyone. Bye.
Welcome to Flyover State of Fear.